So, David Busick said this: God not only saves us, but he also transforms us. He accepts us where we are, but loves us enough not to leave us there. He reimagines, remakes, and remodels. What do you think about that? Is that true for you? Yeah, sometimes we need a new model, right? We need to just throw out the old cabinets and put some new ones in. Yeah, and God's the one who does that. That is the awesome thing about it. We can't save ourselves. We can't sanctify ourselves. We have to be cooperating with God. And what does that mean to cooperate? You have any ideas? Yeah, just to be open. Anything else? Yeah, to be humble, yeah. But there is something to open up to God, right? I mean, you have to do it all the way along. The first inkling you have that there is a God, it's because you kind of open your mind to that possibility. And when you open your heart to his salvation, you are doing the opening. God's not going to barge in. He's going to be there, and he's trying, working all the time, right? And we open our heart. And that's what the sanctifying grace is all about. Once you come to that moment, you still have some things inside that are still yours, right? And you are trying to control yourself, and you still have some of that selfishness and that heart of rebellion inside. But that's what we're cooperating with. We're continuing to cooperate with what God's wanting to do in our life, and from day to day, get ourselves in better shape. I don't know if we kind of passed pretty fast, but he talked about this guy who's a professor in discipleship, if you can believe such a thing. There is a job like that. His name is Dallas Willard, and he said, grace is not opposed to effort, it is opposed to earning. And that is the big deal, because if we think we can earn our salvation with God, we are sadly mistaken, because you're not going to earn that at all. It's got to be a free gift that God gives you through his grace. There is a slide that says grace is needed for the entire journey of discipleship. There's not a point where, it's not like a race, like you've got this support team and they see you off at the starting gate and then they go have coffee while you're out there running the race. No, that's not what God does. God is with you in the race. And it takes that entire journey. It needs God's grace. There is not a place, not a day, not a moment in our life that we don't need God's grace to help us move further and further into this discipleship journey. But I also liked what he said about it being a communal effort. He said this journey of grace is a team sport. Now, some of us don't like being on teams, right? That's why we play individual sports. But I'm sorry to say, this Christian thing is a team sport. There is something about being together, being the community and the body of Christ, that gets a piece of God that we couldn't get otherwise. I don't know how to explain it. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I also was, as a guy who likes math, I like to know that there's math in grace. Did you know this? There is a math of grace. Look at this. Sanctifying grace plus cooperation with God plus Christian community equals Christ-likeness. Now, if you take any of those three above away, it does not equal Christ-likeness. It equals something else. Right? If we take away his sanctifying grace, it's imitation Christ-likeness, because we're trying to do it ourselves. If you take away cooperation with God, you've broke the connection, so you don't have that continual power feeding into your life. And if we don't do it with Christian community, we become a hermit and self-centered, right? Have you met people that say, I don't need the church, I'm a Christian, right? I have people in my family, I think, that are that way. But I'm telling you, there's something about the community that really makes Christ-likeness come to reality a lot faster. So as we grow in grace, we grow to be more like Christ. That's the whole deal. So I have some questions for you. Have you known someone who was like Jesus? Anybody in your life? I mean, it could be from your kid days, your teenage days, your adult days. Have you known people who say they act like Jesus? You do? Anybody have one to tell us about? That's so true. You can't fake being concerned about somebody. Anybody else got somebody that you say, that's a person in my life that's like Jesus? Good to know. I should find my bracelet and scratch a little Jeanette by the J. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I hope that you have somebody like that in your life. Maybe it was the person who helped get you into this life in the beginning, you know? Somebody that you said, okay, this is real. I've seen a lot of places where church doesn't seem real, but this is real. Yeah. So we've said this a little bit, but what about them is it that you admire? What does it take for somebody to look like Jesus to you? Forgiveness. And it's like forgiveness like I forgot that I forgave you last time. Yeah. Yeah, we like to forgive and then we're like, hey, I already forgave you for that. Yeah. Well, you've probably been on some of you have been on this journey a short time. Some have been on it a long time. But there's probably still parts in your life that you feel are holding you back, right? There's like extra luggage or, you know, Diana and I traveled recently and we're getting old and we can't carry bags like we used to, right? We've got to have the wheels on it and we've got to have a good place to step up and put it in the car. That's sometimes the way our life gets. We have these things that didn't bother us before, but they start becoming baggage again, right? And that's what this grace does in our life, that God is there to help us through those struggles. Um, you know, all of us have those struggles, and that's what I love so much about our Tuesday night group. We're going to be able to share those things, have people that have common struggles that we can pray for each other. But Jesus is the one that can make us whole from all of that. So I have some homework for you, okay? I don't know that you'll remember these questions. If you forget, call me. I'll text them to you. But next time we get together, we're going to answer these questions. Okay? So the first one is, what was your life like before Jesus? Some of you may say, I don't remember that. I don't remember that life. That's awesome. What was your life like before Jesus? And then I want you to answer this one. When did Jesus begin changing your life? You know, you can come to church, you can come to Jesus even, but sometimes you don't feel like you're making any motion. You know, God, there's this point in your life where you feel like, I'm going somewhere. Jesus is taking me somewhere. I want you to, when did Jesus start changing your life? And then I want you to think about today. How is Jesus transforming you today? Because that's what God does, right? He transforms us. And it's not just being a better Mike, you know. An improved version of me is still me. I need God to transform me and into something that he wants. So you got these questions? What was your life like before Jesus? When did Jesus begin changing your life? And how is Jesus transforming you today? If you didn't get those, I saw a couple of you snap them, so maybe you could share the wealth.